story you're about to see is a fib, but it's short. The names are made up, but the problems are real.
It was Monday, 9:43 a.m., and nominations for Oscar had just come out in the greater Los Angeles area. Oscar saw his shadow and went back in, so we were in for another 6 weeks of winter. I was working the day watch out of Mathnet. My partner is George Franklin. The boss is Thad Green. My name is Monday. I'm a mathematician. Morning, George.
Hi, Kate.
How was your weekend?
Not bad. Split a pair.
Little League baseball team you coach?
Uh-huh. We won the first and dropped the second in extra innings, 77-76. Real heartbreaker.
77-76.
Yeah, we just weren't hitting.
What are you looking for?
Our team's stats. You know, statistics.
Oh?
I have a team meeting tonight at the Bootery.
The Bootery?
Irwin's Bootery, the sponsor of our team. Ah, here they are. I had Debbie run our team's stats on her computer. Our team's batting average as a whole is just a little over 200. We can't hope to get in the series with that kind of stick work.
I don't follow baseball, George.
We've only got one 300 hitter, Kate, and she had the flu over the weekend.
Is a 300 hitter good, George?
Yep, a 300 hitter is very good. Now here's how you figure batting averages, Kate. Let's say a player gets up to bat 14 times in a game.
Isn't that a lot of times for one player to bat in one game?
Not the way we play. And let's say that player gets 5 hits. You know, like singles, doubles, triples.
Uh-huh.
Well, the way you figure a player's batting average is this. You divide the number of times at bat, in this case 14, into the number of hits she got, in this case 5. Let's see, 14 into 5 is .357.
The decimal points aren't lined up, George.
Darn it. Even the coach makes mistakes. But boy, if we could all hit like that.
If your team isn't hitting, how do you score 76 runs?
A lot of walks.
Monday. Oh? Did you know someone was waiting to see us?
Oh, my gosh. I forgot.
Ask her in, please.
I completely forgot about her, Kate. It's Maureen O'Reilly. Read about her in the paper?
The woman with the Maltese Pigeon.
Yep. She needs protection.
Good morning, Miss O'Reilly. Sorry to keep you waiting.
Understandable.
I'm Kate Monday. This is my partner, George Franklin. George, this is Maureen.
Oh, really?
No, O'Reilly.
Won't you be seated?
We understand you need protection. From what?
You know about my bird.
Ma'am?
The Maltese Pigeon? Only that it's valuable.
Valuable isn't the word. It's worth a king's ransom. I'm going to exhibit it for the general public tomorrow at the Art Museum, and I'm afraid someone may attempt to steal it. Can you help me?
Yes, but first, who do you believe might steal it?
Desperate men, Mr. Franklin. Desperate men who will stop at nothing.
Have they been in contact with you, Miss O'Reilly?
Not specifically, but they've been after the bird for years. They want to possess it. You have to help me, Mr. Franklin.
Let's take a look at the exhibit room.
We'll go right now. I'll drive.
No need. Here's a floor plan of the museum wing. We can set our exhibit anywhere in there.
If we're going to secure this exhibit room...
There's an awful lot of open area here and here.
Yes, but I want as many people as possible to see the bird.
But if you think it may be stolen, it would be better to put it in a small room. Easier to protect.
I understand, Miss Monday.
I would suggest you put it in this area. According to the scale of the floor plan, 1 inch represents 5 feet.
This room is 4 inches long.
That's 20 feet.
and 3 inches wide.
That's 15 feet wide.
How many people can fit in a room that's only 20 feet by 15 feet?
We'll gather the people outside of the room and let them in groupings of 50 people at a time.
There are only 2 doors, so we'll station policemen at both of them.
That sounds safe.
We'll let the people enter here and exit here.
It'll be as safe as a church, Miss O'Reilly.
Please, call me Maureen.
Yes, sir.
What times will your exhibit be open, Miss O'Reilly?
From 5 till 8 for the next 3 days.
3 hours a day for 3 days.
That's a total of 9 hours in all.
If we move 50 people in and out in, let's say, what's a good guess?
I don't know. How long would you guess that people might like to look at the bird, Miss O'Reilly?
Well, I suppose that depends on how fascinating they find it. But as a rough estimate, I'd say 5 minutes.
Okay. 50 people in 5 minutes. There are 12 5-minute segments in 1 hour. That's 12 groups.
12 groups of 50.
12 fives are 60. So 600 people can see the bird every hour, Miss O'Reilly.
Oh, that would be a thrill.
And you said your exhibit would be open for a total of 9 hours?
Yes, George.
Let's see. 9 sixes are 54, so 5,400 people may get their eyes full.
When and how will you be transporting the Maltese Pigeon to the museum? Miss O'Reilly?
Well, I'd rather not say how, but we will have it at the exhibit entrance at the museum tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. If you could have your police meet me there.
I'll be there myself.
So will I. Don't worry, Miss O'Reilly.
We'll take care of everything.
I can't thank you enough. But remember, people are after the Maltese Pigeon, so you must be careful, because they are
Desperate men.
Who will stop at nothing?
Exactly. Thank you again. Until tomorrow.
I can hardly wait to lay my eyes on.
Me too, George, but I guess we'll have to wait till tomorrow afternoon.
Did you say something, Maureen? Kate?
Forget it, George.
Fine.
All clear?
Yeah.
The next day, George and I met Miss O'Reilly at the museum and watched as the well-protected Maltese Pigeon was loaded off the truck and into the secure museum. The piece of statuary was gently uncrated by the museum's assistant curators, highly trained specialists used to handling such priceless artifacts.
Gently! Please, gently. Careful, gentlemen. Careful! This bird is worth
A king's ransom.
I'll do it. Lights, please.
It's beautiful, Miss O'Reilly.
It sure is, Maureen. What did it eat?
The largest sapphire in the world. The Gosden sapphire.
Everyone will now leave the room. We'll place an armed guard at either door. No one can get in here until they open the doors at 5 o'clock.
It should be totally safe. Your bird, I mean.
Thank you so much.
If you need us, we'll be at Mathnet. Gentlemen, would you remove this crate, please? The rest of the day was pretty routine, and before we knew it, it was quitting time.
About time to pack up, Kate.
Uh-huh. Gonna stop by the museum on your way home, George?
I'd like to, but I've got a Little League meeting tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Mathnet, frankly. Oh. Hello, Maureen. How's everything?
What?
We'll be right there.
What is it?
It was Marine.
Uh-huh.
The Maltese Pigeon has been stolen.
The story you are about to see is a fib, but it's short. The names are made up, but the problems are real.
This is the city, Los Angeles, California, 5:47 p.m. And the day that began 3 hours earlier in New York was, as usual, tired by the time it got to L.A. We were working the day watch out of Mathnet and were involved in a mystery. The mystery of the Maltese Pigeon, a rare sculpture worth a king's ransom. We'd been asked by its owner, Maureen O'Reilly, to make the exhibition room in the museum secure. Ms. O'Reilly felt there were men, desperate men, who wanted to steal it from her. My partner is George Franklin. The boss is Thad Green. My name is Monday. I'm a mathematician. We decided to look at a couple of scenes from yesterday's show to refresh our memories. What times will your exhibit be open, Ms. O'Reilly?
From 5 till 8 for the next 3 days.
3 hours a day for 3 days.
That's a total of 9 hours in all.
If we move 50 people in and out in, let's say, what's a good guess?
I don't know. How long would you guess that people might like to look at the bird, Ms. O'Reilly?
Well, I suppose that depends on how fascinating they find it. But as a rough estimate, I'd say 5 minutes.
Okay. 50 people in 5 minutes. There are 12 5-minute segments in 1 hour. That's 12 groups.
12 groups of 50.
12 fives are 60. So 600 people can see the bird every hour, Ms. O'Reilly.
Oh, that would be a thrill.
We knew we had secured the Maltese Pigeon, and it was beyond any danger. Then we got a phone call.
Mathnet, frankly. Oh. Hello, Marine. How's everything? What? We'll be right there.
What is it?
The Maltese Pigeon has been stolen.
We went back to the exhibit room at the museum to look for some facts. The bird was taken from a locked room which no one could get into or out of. 2 questions. Who did it, and how?
Steve, are you absolutely positive that no one entered?
That's right, George. And no one came through Sam's door either.
Impossible. Someone had to not only get in, but also get out with the bird.
When did you miss it, Miss O'Reilly?
Well, we opened the doors at exactly 5 p.m. I was the first person into the room, leading the first group of 50 people. The door opened, and my bird was gone.
What did you do then, Marine?
Well, I'm afraid I did something rather untoward.
She screamed. Then she fainted.
Are you all right? I mean, you didn't faint on anything, did you?
Who do you suspect might have taken it?
It had to be either Jasper Stoutman or Noel Sphinx.
Who are they?
The 2 desperate men I was telling you about in yesterday's episode.
Stop at nothing?
The same. They've been after the Maltese Pigeon for nearly 15 years. They've traced it to the 4 corners of the earth.
But what makes you sure it was them? They.
It had to be. They're the only ones who know the true value of the bird.
Could you give me its dimensions? Perhaps we could figure out exactly what it's worth.
It's about 11 inches long by 6 inches high.
It really doesn't matter, George. It's a priceless piece of art.
Priceless? Doesn't everything have a price?
No, there are some things on which you can't put a price. It's hundreds of years old. It's delicate crystal, and its glass encase is a fantastic sapphire.
I see what you mean.
George, Kate, I found this young man snooping around the exhibit room.
I meant no harm. I was just curious.
Can't be.
What do you mean, Miss O'Reilly?
His name is...
Noel Sphinx.
Junior.
Then you have a father. Named Noel Sphinx.
Senior, yes.
Yeah, senior.
And you know this young man, Miss O'Reilly?
I know. Knew. He looks like a man I used to know. A man who is in hot pursuit of...
The Maltese Pigeon. Yes, that was my father. He died in his quest.
I'm terribly sorry.
My brother had a 72 Quest. Got bad mileage, but said it handled well.
Is it true your father was on the trail of the Maltese Pigeon?
Oh, yes, it was his mission in life, and now it is mine.
Noel. Don't begin this insanity. You're young. You have your whole life in front of you.
She's right, Noel.
I know, but I need the bird.
Then how do we know...
Know what?
That you don't already have it? How do we know you didn't steal the bird?
If I had, would I be here now?
He has a point. But who then?
the stout man.
The stout man, Jasper Stout Man, the man I was speaking of.
Yes, but how do we know he was here?
I'm sure he was. I felt it in my bones.
Your bones felt right. He was here. I saw him drive up.
Know where he lives?
No, I've been looking for him and he can't be found.
Noel, did he come into the exhibit?
No, ma'am. He looked at the commotion going on and drove away.
Rats. Sure wish we had his license plate number. What's this?
Maybe it's Stoutman's license plate.
I doubt it. It's too small.
We talked with Debbie Williams, head of our computer lab. We asked her to check the license number Noel had given us in hopes of finding an address for the Stoutman. Jasper Stoutman.
Any luck, Debbie?
Just a minute. I've accessed the database of the Department of Motor Vehicles.
What would they give you, Debbie?
The computers at the DMV have records of every car registered in California. They can tell us who the car with the license number ADX21N belongs to.
Where that someone lives?
That's right.
What have you found?
Here it is. ADX21N is owned by one Mr. Jasper Stoutman.
And your computer has an address on him?
Here you go. Number 1 Cherry Blossom Lane. That's in Hancock Park.
Pretty fancy neighborhood.
Uh-huh.
It's where Pia Zadora lives, I think.
Thanks, Debbie. Let's get Maureen O'Reilly and pay Mr. Stoutman a visit. George and I drove quickly but carefully to the address Debbie had pulled for us. The neighborhood and Stoutman's house were nearly as impressive as Stoutman himself. Mr. Stoutman?
Yes, it is I.
Monday.
Frankly.
Mathnet.
Maureen O'Reilly.
Well, sir, as I live and breathe, Miss O'Reilly. It is you, by gad.
May we speak with you, sir?
Certainly. Do come in, please. To your left, if you will.
The home's interior screamed out in an understated elegance.
Do sit down, please. Let me guess the subject, if I may. Now then, it's about the bird, isn't it?
What makes you say that, Mr. Stoutman?
A man with a question. I like a man who asks a question straight out. Shows he doesn't have the answer and isn't afraid to admit it. Ask questions all your life, young man. It's a good way to get answers.
How did you know we were interested in the bird, sir?
Miss O'Reilly gave it away. It's all she ever thinks about, talks about, does anything about. Isn't that right, Miss O'Reilly?
Yes. Stoutman, I have a question about the Maltese Pigeon. Where is it?
I believe it was you purported to have the bird. Didn't I read somewhere that you were going to exhibit it?
I was going to, but it was stolen.
How very unfortunate. Have you a suspect in mind?
She thinks you took it, Mr. Stoutman.
You are a character, sir. No beating around the bush. I like a man who...
I want it back.
I don't have it, and you know I don't have it, my dear Miss O'Reilly. And I'll tell you something else.
What's that?
You never did have the bird.
Yes, she did, Mr. Stoutman. I saw it.
Impossible! What you saw must have been a fake. I don't have the bird. Feel free to search the house and grounds if you wish. I must away. I have an important meeting.
It wouldn't by any chance be with a young man named Noel Sphinx.
At Mr. Stoutman's request, we searched his house for the bird. We looked everywhere and came up with nothing. We dropped Miss O'Reilly off at her place of business, a swanky catering company specializing in nouvelle cuisine for the rich and famous. She thanked George, bid us adieu, and we called it a day. Next morning, we got an early start. This problem is getting more and more mysterious, George.
I would have sworn that Stoutman had the bird.
But he didn't.
Well, that leaves the kid, Noel Sphinx. Maybe we ought to pick him up for questioning.
Good idea. Maybe he can give us some facts.
Frankly, Mathnet. Oh, yes. Good morning, Mr. Stoutman. What? I see. We'll be right out.
Stoutman?
Uh-huh. He had the Maltese Pigeon after all.
Well, the case is solved. Let's go get it and give it back to Miss O'Reilly.
Good idea, except for one thing. While he was out last night, someone stole the pigeon from him.
The story you are about to see is a fib, but it's short. The names are made up, but the problems are real.
9:43 a.m. Rains had poured down on the City of the Angels all night. It dried quickly and left traffic in a devilish mess. I was working the day watch out of Mathnet. My partner is George Frankly. The boss is Thad Green. My name is Monday. I'm a mathematician. We had been working on the mystery of the Maltese Pigeon, a priceless piece of sculpture said to be worth a king's ransom. It belonged to a woman named Maureen O'Reilly who was about to put the bird on exhibition when it was stolen. She told us a man named Jasper Stoutman must have stolen it, but all we had to go on was his license plate number. We decided to look at a couple of scenes from yesterday's episode to refresh our thinking. We talked with Debbie Williams, head of our computer lab. We asked her to check the license number in hopes of finding an address for the Stoutman. Jasper Stoutman.
Any luck, Debbie?
Just a minute. I've accessed the database of the Department of Motor Vehicles.
What would they give you, Debbie?
The computers at the DMV have records of every car registered in California. They can tell us who the car with the license number ADX21N belongs to.
Where that someone lives?
That's right.
What have you found?
Here it is. ADX21N is owned by one Mr. Jasper Stoutman.
And your computer has an address on him?
Here you go. Number 1, Cherry Blossom Lane. That's in Hancock Park.
We figured all we had to do was search Stoutman's house, find the bird, and return it to Miss O'Reilly. But it wasn't there. Then we got a phone call.
Frankly, Mathnet. Oh, yes. Good morning, Mr. Stoutman. What? I see. We'll be right out.
Stoutman?
Uh-huh. He had the Maltese Pigeon after all.
Well, the case is solved. Let's go get it and give it back to Miss O'Reilly.
Good idea, except for one thing. While he was out last night, someone stole the pigeon from him.
We drove to Stoutman's house to get his story.
Won't you come in, please?
You had the pigeon, Mr. Stoutman, and you lied to us.
A prevarication of necessity, Mr. Franklin. Believe me, if Miss O'Reilly suspected I had the bird, she would stop at nothing to get it. That's why I could not reveal its true whereabouts while Miss O'Reilly was here.
But we searched your home and found no trace. Where was it?
In here.
Well, I saw this book in yesterday's episode, but figured you'd never put it in here.
I was out last evening between the hours of 7 and 10. Miss O'Reilly had to come by here at that time, broken into my home, and stolen the bird.
We're having Miss O'Reilly picked up and brought by here, Mr. Stoutman.
Mr. Stoutman, why is that bird so valuable? There are probably lots of crystal pigeons in the world with sapphires in their tummies.
Oh, not likely, Mr. Franklin. Not likely in the least. It is one of a kind, my friends. A rara avis.
Do you know its history?
Only too well, Miss Mundy. Do you know of an order called the Mystic Knights of the Sea?
Who doesn't?
Well, sir, centuries ago they sculpted it for one Harold of Malta.
The King of Malta.
No, he was the only honest lawyer in the land. But the bird was stolen by a Russian named Smirnov before it could ever be bestowed upon him. It has left in its wake a trail of passion, greed, bloodshed, and death, my friends.
All the things, in fact, that make life worth living. Eh, Stoutman?
I demand you return the bird, Miss O'Reilly.
If I had it, do you think I would still be here?
Let me ask you a question, Miss O'Reilly. Where were you last night between 7 and 10 p.m.?
I was at a concert. It was Tchaikovsky's Peter and the Wolf at the Hollywood Bowl. It was delightful. I was there till nearly 11. Oh, here are the ticket stubs. The concert started at 7 p.m.
Uh-huh. Thank you.
There are 2 tickets.
Yes. I had a date with a certain Mr. Jacoby.
Oh.
Oh, she has the bird. I know she has the bird.
May I go now?
Yes, and thank you for coming. Sam, will you please take Miss O'Reilly home? I'm sorry, Mr. Stoutman. I'm afraid she couldn't have taken it.
If she didn't take the bird, then it must have been taken by Noel Sphinx.
They found him sneaking around outside.
I can explain.
Then do it, Noel. What are you doing here?
As my father before me, Miss Monday, I'm on a quest for the bird. I thought the stout man might have it, and I came here to ask him.
You were too late, my young lad. Had you been here but 24 hours earlier, the answer would have been a resounding yes.
You had it.
It was stolen last night. Where were you between 7 and 10 p.m.? And I hope you don't say listening to Tchaikovsky and Peter and the Wolf, because that's been taken.
No, I was walking on the beach trying to pull my thoughts together.
Did anyone see you?
No, I was alone. I got caught in the rain, went to a petrol station, and called for a taxi cab to take me to my hotel.
What time is that?
About 10:30.
Aha! He has no alibi for the hours between 7 and 10. He must have stolen the bird.
But if I had, why would I come here today and risk being apprehended?
Why, to throw suspicion on Miss O'Reilly, perhaps.
Noel, we'd like you to come downtown and talk with us.
Whatever you say, Miss Monday, but I swear to you, I do not have the Maltese Pigeon.
Sit down, Noel.
Things don't look good for you, Noel. You have a motive and no alibi.
I did not take it, Miss Monday.
Are you sure no one saw you while you were walking on the beach?
I'm afraid not, Mr. Franklin. All right. It appears obvious, I must tell you.
You stole the bird.
No. I must tell you my true purpose in life.
I'd rather hear a better alibi.
As you know, I am Noel Sphinx Jr. My father was the first Noel. I am a secret agent of the government of Malta.
Secret agent? Wow.
My mission, as my father before me, is to find the Maltese Pigeon and return it safely to my people to whom it rightly belongs. Stoutman and O'Reilly have been after the bird for different reasons. Personal greed.
Why didn't you tell us this before?
If whoever has the Maltese Pigeon knew that a secret agent from the Maltese people was after them, they would have gone underground, and I could never have found them.
But as long as they believed you and your father were just greedy treasure hunters.
That's right. You see, they figured that we were all birds of a feather, so to speak.
Okay, Noel. You can go. We'll work on this case together.
I will tell you if I get any new information.
Good luck, Noel. Be careful.
I know. Only too well.
Goodbye, Noel.
Oh, by the way, Tchaikovsky did not write Peter and the Wolf. Prokofiev did.
The story you are about to see is a fib, but it's short. The names are made up, but the problems are real.
Los Angeles, California, 2:43 p.m. The rains which had inundated the basin had subsided just enough to allow the mudslides to get a head start on the season. I was working the day watch out of Mathnet. My partner is George Frankley. The boss is Thad Green. My name is Monday. I'm a mathematician. We were up against a real puzzle in the form of the Maltese Pigeon, a priceless sculpture which belonged to the people of the tiny country of Malta in the Mediterranean Sea. Most recently, the statue had been possessed by Maureen O'Reilly, but it was stolen from her. Then it appeared to turn up with Jasper Stoutman, but it was stolen from him. No one knew who had stolen it or where it was. We decided to look at a couple of scenes from yesterday's show just to slow down this dizzying carousel. A young man named Noel Sphinx Jr. had been seen at both robbery sites. He was a strong suspect with a weak alibi.
It was stolen last night. Where were you between 7 and 10 p.m.? And I hope you don't say listening to Tchaikovsky and Peter and the Wolf, because that's been taken.
No, I was walking on the beach trying to pull my thoughts together.
Did anyone see you?
No, I was alone.
We questioned Noel at headquarters, and it was there he told us a remarkable fact.
As you know, I am Noel Sphinx Jr. My father was the first Noel. I am a secret agent of the government of Malta.
Secret agent? Wow.
My mission, as my father before me, is to find the Maltese Pigeon and return it safely to my people, to whom it rightly belongs.
Your story checks out, Kate.
Thought it might.
Both Interpol and the government of Malta say Noel Sphinx is a secret agent. And he's only about 12.
Very precociously dedicated.
I'll say. When I was 12, I was still getting my thumbs caught in my shoelaces.
Uh-huh.
I checked something else, Kate.
What's that?
Peter and the Wolf. Noel was right. Tchaikovsky didn't write it. Prokofiev did.
Did Debbie check it out for you?
Nope, my wife. He wrote it in 1936.
Martha's into classical music.
Wolves.
You think when Ms. O'Reilly said Tchaikovsky wrote it, she was lying?
I don't know. Let's try and figure out some of these facts.
Okay, let's play what if. What if she just got the names of the composers mixed up? No big deal.
Right, but what if she didn't go to the concert, but did go back to Stoutman's house?
And what if she found the bird and took it?
But if she had done that, she would have told us. The bird sort of belonged to her in the first place.
That's true unless Stoutman was right.
How's that?
Remember? He said she never had the pigeon in the first place.
But we know that she did. We saw it.
Yes, but what if Stoutman was right again? What if it was a fake?
But that still doesn't explain who stole her bird, fake or not, from the museum, or how he or she did it.
Here's the report you asked for, Kate.
Thanks.
What's that, Kate?
I asked Debbie to search the files of Interpol to see if she could find any names even remotely associated with the Maltese Pigeon.
There are 3, Stoutman, O'Reilly, and Sphinx.
I was afraid of that.
Prokofiev. Into classical music, George?
No, just a note from Martha.
Matter of fact, I was going to see one of his pieces performed last night, but it fell through.
Couldn't go?
No. It was a concert at the Hollywood Bowl. With all the rain we had, they postponed it. See ya.
Of course. The Hollywood Bowl is an outdoor arena. We should have known, George. Ms. O'Reilly is lying. Let's ask her why. Monday.
Frankly.
Mathnet.
Is Maureen here? Ms. O'Reilly? The owner?
No, I'm Ali Rodin, a chiseler.
No one she'll be back?
In a wee while. She went down to the bank to close a deal. Would you like to come in and wait? I'm just finishing up.
Riley took us to his workroom, a walk-in freezer. We asked him a few questions.
You say you're a chiseler, Mr. Rodin?
That's right. Just a wee joke.
You do ice sculptures?
Oh, aye. Just finishing off this swan. It's for a big party in Beverly Hills tonight.
How long does it take you to chisel a swan like this?
About an hour and a half.
What does this swan weigh, Arlie?
Well, to begin with, it's 385 pounds.
Exactly?
Pretty close. That's what the block of ice weighs before I start with it.
It's quite a bit smaller now.
Oh, I chip off about 100 pounds in the process.
Is this where the waste goes?
Oh, no, that's a nice statue left over from a birthday party this morning. Before it melted down totally, I thought I'd bring it back and maybe reuse the ice.
Is it cold in here or is it just me?
28 degrees, Mr. Franklin. Best temperature for me to work with.
Arlie, how long does it take an ice sculpture to melt?
Depends on the temperature. This swan here will last about 8 hours in a room 65 to 70 degrees.
Thank you, Arlie. We'll be going now.
Tell Maureen that I'd like to... Tell Miss O'Reilly that we'd like to talk to her when she gets back.
Right.
You said she was at a bank?
Signing the closing papers. She sold the business.
Sold it?
Aye. Just this morning. Quite a surprise to all of us.
Did she say where she was going?
No. She just said there had to be more to life than frozen birds.
You mean you think the original bird might have been a phony?
Right. Maybe we overlooked something the other day. Let's check around.
But the pigeon was moved in here at 2 o'clock. 3 hours later, it was gone. And Arlie said it would take 8 hours to melt the sculpture.
But the pigeon isn't as big as a swan.
But still, it wouldn't melt in 3 hours. Even if it did, it would leave a pool of water, and there wasn't any. We were here.
It's just an ordinary pedestal. No false bottom. No absorbent material on top. And the bird was sitting here.
Right. And the spotlight shone on it from there. What's wrong?
My hand was burning.
Well...
George, that's no ordinary spotlight. Put your hand under it.
It's a heat lamp. That lamp could have melted the bird in no time at all.
The story you are about to see is a fib, but it's short. The names are made up, but the problems are real.
4:43 p.m. and motorists all over the greater Los Angeles basin were staking out parking places on the freeway system in anticipation of the rush hour. I was working the day watch out of Mathnet. My partner is George Franklin. The boss is Thad Green. My name is Monday. I'm a mathematician. We've been trying to solve the mystery of the Maltese Pigeon, a very rare and valuable statue which had been stolen from the people of Malta many centuries ago. Now it was either in the hands of Jasper Stoutman or Maureen O'Reilly or someone else. We had to find the bird and decided to look at a scene or two from yesterday's show to help us get our facts in order. When solving any problem, it's important to go over the facts again and again. We found a hole in what we thought was an airtight alibi which Ms. O'Reilly had presented. Maybe she stole the pigeon from Stoutman after all. We decided to play What If. What if she just got the names of the composers mixed up? No big deal.
Right. But what if she didn't go to the concert, but did go back to Stoutman's house?
And what if she found the bird and took it?
But if she had done that, she would have told us. The bird sort of belonged to her in the first place.
That's true unless Stoutman was right.
How's that?
Remember? He said she never had the pigeon in the first place. We got an idea and returned to the museum where the Maltese pigeon was stolen.
You mean you think the original bird might have been a phony?
Right. Maybe we overlooked something the other day. Let's check around. Ms. O'Reilly owned a catering company that, among other things, made sculptures out of ice for lavish parties.
But still, it wouldn't melt in 3 hours. Even if it did, it would leave a pool of water, and there wasn't any. We were here.
It's just an ordinary pedestal. No false bottom. No absorbent material on top. And the bird was sitting here.
Right. And the spotlight shone on it from there. What's wrong?
My hand was burning.
Well...
George, that's no ordinary spotlight. Put your hand under it.
It's a heat lamp. That lamp could have melted the bird in no time at all. Thanks very much, Arlie. You've been a big help.
Did he say the heat lamp would have melted it?
Uh-huh. He said a lamp like that could melt a sculpture in 30 minutes and evaporate the water in another 20 to 30. You know what else he said? Arlie, I mean?
What?
He said he never made a sculpture of a pigeon with a sapphire under its tummy, but...
But what?
He said Maureen could have. Said she's one of the finest ice sculptors south of Ventura Boulevard.
I know she has the bird, George. I can just feel it.
But all the evidence we have is what lawyers call circumstantial. Maybe she did it, but maybe she didn't.
I have an idea, George. Let's roll. We decided to stake out Ms. O'Reilly's house. If she did have the bird, we guessed she'd try to leave town with it as soon as possible. We set a trap and asked Noel Sphinx to help us.
Thanks for helping, Noel.
Oh, I am only too eager. I will do anything to get the pigeon and return it safely to my people.
I was just thinking, Kate.
Uh-huh.
This is one of the most complicated cases we've ever tried to solve.
You got that right.
We've hardly used any mathematics at all.
Well, we haven't added or subtracted or multiplied or divided many numbers, if that's what you mean. But we've sure tried to solve things in a logical, mathematical way.
You mean you don't always need numbers to solve mathematical problems?
That's right. Just organized facts and logical thinking.
There she is now. Miss O'Reilly, may we talk with you for a moment?
Oh, Miss Monday, hello.
Hello, Maureen.
Hello, George. Actually, I'm in a bit of a hurry.
We came to apologize to you.
Oh.
Yes, Maureen, you must know you've been a suspect in this case.
But I didn't steal.
We know that now. Jasper Stoutman has the Maltese Pigeon.
No, he does.
We have it on good authority, and we've sent our people to pick him up. We just wanted you to know and hope that you'll accept our apologies.
What? Yes, of course. I understand.
What was that?
It's someone running away.
Isn't that Noel Sphinx?
What? Let me see.
He's got a package under his arm.
Oh, he's stolen the bird.
Can't be. Stoutman has the pigeon.
I'm going after him. Wait for me, George.
Don't worry, Maureen. Kate will catch him. She's a fast runner.
Well, it's not that. It's... I mean, George, would you care for a glass of ice water?
No, I don't think so. I'll just sit here and wait.
I see. Perhaps some iced tea. Lemonade?
Lemonade would be fine. Thank you, Maureen.
You wait here, George. I'll fix the drinks.
Your bird is lovely, Miss O'Reilly.
George, you startled me.
So that's it. The Maltese Pigeon.
Yes, it is. And it's mine.
I think not.
George, this crystal bird is worth millions of dollars. Plenty of money for both of us.
What?
Yes, don't you see? I'll sell it, and we'll split the money. George, don't send me to jail.
For hundreds of years, people have lied and cheated and even killed for this bird.
Yes, but not anymore. Don't you see? It can be ours.
We've only minutes before the others return. We're sitting on dynamite. Now give me the story and give it to me fast.
Not now, George, please.
That first day, when you came into my office, you didn't have the bird, did you? You played me for a simp, Angel. And I won't play the simp for you or anyone.
Don't say that, George. You know I didn't.
This isn't the time for that schoolgirl act. We're both standing under the gallows.
I didn't mean to. First, perhaps. George, I can't look at you and tell you this.
Then I'll tell you. You didn't have the bird, but you wanted Stoutman to think you had it. That way he'd come out of hiding and you could trace him. Isn't that true, Angel?
Something like that.
So you made up that cockamamie ice pigeon story, didn't you?
Yes, sweetheart, but I was only thinking of us.
Then when you displayed your bird, you put a hot lamp in place of a spotlight so the bird would melt, the water would evaporate, and we'd think poor Maureen. Isn't that true?
Yes, but...
Then when you found where Stoutman lived, you broke into his house and stole a real bird. And now you're planning to leave town with the bird and leave me here holding the cage.
Millions of dollars, George. For us.
Well, if you get a good break, you'll be out of prison in 20 years. And we can talk then.
Don't, George. Don't say that, even in fun. I was frightened for a minute. I really thought you do such wild, unpredictable things.
Now, don't be silly, Angel. You're taking the fall. Listen, this won't do any good, but I'll try it once and then give it up. When a mathematician...
George.
You tricked me, George. How could you?
It isn't something you'd understand, Angel. Take her away, boys.
Bird is heavy. What is it?
It's the stuff that dinners are made of. Here, son, take good care of it.
Thank you. From me and the people of Malta.
Nice job, partner.
You too, Kate. You're good. You're very good.
Maureen O'Reilly was tried and convicted of a 459, burglary, and a 487A, grand theft auto pawn. She was put away from society for an appropriate number of years.
100% of Square One TV is a production of the Children's Television Workshop. This program was made possible by grants from the National Science Foundation, the U.S. Department of Education, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation, and the Carnegie Corporation of New York.
Corporate funding is provided by IBM. At IBM, we believe education is the key to the future. We are pleased to help support Square One TV as an innovative way to introduce young people to the exciting world of mathematics.